Delta Airlines posted better than expected earnings in the fourth quarter, marking its first profitable year since before COVID-19. But the airline missed on its first quarter earnings forecast as its new deal with its pilots union is set to weigh on its profitability. And Brad, I know you follow this name very closely, so I'll hand it off to you in a sec. But really what stood out to me, the company looking for $5 to $6 a share in EPS this year. The street was about 507. Good to see that guidance from Delta. And again, and I think we talked about this a month or so ago when we heard from Delta, still looking for that $7 in earnings per share number in 2024. So reaffirming that outlook.
Yeah, and you mentioned off the top there that it really comes back to what they're forecasting for this current quarter that we're in right now, especially as they're citing this continued favorable demand that Delta is seeing. And they've continued to give us kind of this comparison versus 2019, which was the last time that we had seen levels, capacity at kind of full pre-pandemic levels. And so if we're still looking at that comparison for the current quarter that we're in right now, where they're forecasting this range, an EPS of about 15 to 40 cents, you compare that to 2019's first quarter, they saw 96 cents. And so the street probably continuing to look at that and utilize that pre-pandemic comparison, as that's been the barometer that Delta has continued to point back to. But as you continue to hear from the CEO of Delta, Ed Bastian, he had said within this release, as they move into 2023, the industry backdrop for air travel remains favorable. Delta well positioned to deliver significant earnings. Those earnings we just broke down, but then it's also about what costs they're anticipating. And you also mentioned that a moment ago, Saz, as well. It's this pilot package that has been kind of negotiated, but then also agreed upon, at least in principle, where they're looking for these tranches to eventually add up to about 34% in increased compensation for pilots. And so once all of that is finalized, as long as all of that is approved as written, I think that's significantly what CFO Brian Jenke was pointing out within this release as well, and giving a nod to some of the increased costs that they're anticipating too.
Right, even as fuel costs abate to some extent, made up for, and then some perhaps, by those higher employment costs. And it's important. You want the person who's flying your plane to be well compensated.
Give them what they want.
Hell yeah.
I think that
Give them whatever they want.
To say.
Give them free food, give them vacation time. Oh my God, are you kidding me? We love those guys.